Hey, so pretty sure I'm live. Um, I don't really have any viewers or whatever at this point, but this will probably be up on the channel or whatever, for people to check it out. Anyway, I have noticed that there was a lot of really bad relationship advice, specifically for courtships, romantic relationships. Um, and well, that bothers me because there's going to be a lot of people, of course, that are like looking into this that are like genuinely seeking this advice, and um I think there's clearly a market for this, but even more than that, there's a demand, a need for it. It's important to have actually decent advice, and a lot of the people that are focusing on this are, well, the like red pill, MRA, Andrew Tate fucking bullshit. um and I don't really think that's good for anybody. It's not good for the people looking for this advice. It's not good for people that they could end up in a relationship with, because those relationships aren't going to be good. Um, and so, despite the fact that I'm certainly not the best person to talk about this, um, I'm going to. I'm you know um, certainly not the best person to talk about this, like I said, but somebody's got to. And really, the only time I hear good relationship advice is when it is debunking the bad relationship advice, and that's fair enough, I guess. It should be debunked, but it's also important to just put out there this good advice, and so I'm gonna start doing that. This will just be like, kind of me talking about the reasons that I'm gonna start doing it, and some general ideas. Explaining my own perspective, and um, I probably won't be very long, but I'm gonna do more. I think more streams like this, and things like that. You know, anyone who's watching this can obviously put a question in the chat. I'll try to answer it. And if you see this after I go live, you can email me. Um, with any questions. That's conlin1213 at gmail.com. That's again conlin1213 at gmail.com. So yeah, so I'll just first talk a bit, I guess, about myself, who I am, and like, what makes me qualified to talk about this, so to speak. Which, I mean, not very much. I'm currently not in a relationship. I don't have very much experience in that regard, though I do have some experience in learning things. I am a, guess you could say, socially awkward, helpless romantic, and I've been that for most of my life. And for that reason, I've been in a position where I've been forced to actually give these things a lot of conscious thought. And so I have given these things a lot of conscious thought. I have laid these things out for myself or whatever, and how I think about them. And um, now I guess I'm going to do that here for anyone that might be interested in that. So I also start as like, um, so what made me think about this is I started watching a show called Atypical. It's a pretty good show on Netflix. Um, and it's about a kid with autism or whatever who's trying to find a relationship, and that obviously leads to some awkwardness. But he starts looking into advice and stuff like that. And he there's this dude or whatever in the show um that he finds a video of a guy in the show saying, you know to insult girls. If you want to get a chick, insult them. Like, I think the way he puts it is like the quickest way to get a chick on your dick is to insult them. And well, um, it should be obvious, but I feel like it's not. That's absolute bullshit. It's like that's some dog shit advice. That's some fucking BoJack shit advice. And don't don't do that. Insulting is just mean. Um, Now, a lot of this like bad advice does have a root of truth in it, and I'll try to explain that more. Um, so for this idea that you should insult somebody, be mean to them, um, as a floating tactic or whatever. Where does that come from? Where does this idea come from? Well, it comes from a technique that's known as the push pull technique. And this is basically, so it's the idea that like when you compliment somebody, that can create a bit of awkwardness, with a compliment. A lot of times people don't know exactly how to respond to compliments and things like that. Now, they're nice and people like getting compliments, but it can create a bit of tension, a bit of awkwardness. So, you want to have a way of deflating that tension, that awkwardness that's created in the compliment. So, that compliment's like the push, and then the pull is to deflate that with a joke, not an insult, a joke. So, an example from my personal life. Um, there was a chick I was into a while ago, and I wrote a poem about her. And when I told her about this, what I said was, the other night, I was thinking about you. And she was like, oh. And it was like, and then I said, as one does. And she laughed, right? And that's an example of the push pull, from my own personal life, right? The compliment is the other night I was thinking about you, right? Like, I don't, oh, nice to hear a compliment, right? But could have created a little bit of awkwardness. So I did the, as one does. Now, obviously, like, she's not like a celebrity or famous person or anything. And so the, as one does is sort of the easiest way to make something that isn't very common a joke. You say you did this thing, as one does, when, I mean, how common is it that one actually does that? And, well, I think it worked. It got a laugh. And so that is an example of the push pull. But notice how nothing in there was mean. I wasn't rude to her. I didn't insult her. I didn't say anything mean to her. Because why would I? Um, I, I didn't want to do that, right? I mean, I was actually interested in pursuing a courtship with this person. I wasn't trying to make her hate me. So why would I insult her? Why would I be rude? Well, obviously I wouldn't. So I didn't. But I made a little bit of a joke after the compliment to deflate that tension or whatever. Um, and so when you get into this, like, a lot of times you hear a lot of different things. Another one you might hear is playing hard to get. And playing hard to get is, well, again, bad advice. Don't play hard to get. Because playing hard to get, when you play hard to get, it's too easy, way too easy to come off as uninterested. But where the advice comes from is, of course, you don't want to appear desperate. Um, Desperation is the opposite of confidence, and confidence is a very attractive trait. Um, People are more likely to be drawn to confidence than desperation. So, um, you don't want to come off as desperate, but that doesn't mean that you want to come off as uninterested. And when you play hard to get, it's way too easy to actually end up coming off as uninterested, like you're not actually interested in a relationship. You want to make it clear that you're interested, um, but not desperate. You got to find that middle ground. And, there are a bunch of things that come through this, different things you might also hear is like, don't, contact someone, call or text or whatever, till like at least 3 days after the first date. Um, you know, bad advice. Again, the time that you want to contact someone and stuff all varies. Honestly, with being honest, I do it that night or the next day. Just something short and sweet, like, hey, had a great time last night, can't wait to do it again. Smiley face emoji, right? Whatever. And the reason I think it's important to do that is because a lot of times, I feel like the most common reason a date is bad is not because somebody was rude or somebody was a dick. The most common reason is just you just didn't have a good time. And a lot of times, the person you went out with was like they were perfectly nice, but it just wasn't that fun. I didn't have that great of a time, and I mean, certainly for me, and I think a lot of other people, um, you don't want to be rude to somebody who wasn't rude to you. If somebody wasn't rude to you, then you don't want to be rude to them. And saying I didn't have a good time can oftentimes sound and come off as rude. So you don't want to say that straight up. So a lot of times people might go out, be like, yeah, that was fun, we should do it again. And then, they never see each other again. Because one or both of them didn't have a good time. And, they won't just gonna straight up say that, because the most common reason you don't have a good time is just that. You just didn't have a good time. It's not that somebody was rude or dick or anything like that. It's just you just didn't have a good time. They were perfectly nice, and if they were perfectly nice, well, you don't want to be the rude one. You don't want to be the dick. So, you know, um, so texting them fairly soon after the date, you know, just to say that you did have a good time or whatever, and that you can't wait to do it again. Um, you know, um, that can actually be, I think, a good idea, because it lets them know that you're actually serious, that you actually did have a good time and everything. All of this, of course, assumes that you did actually have a good time and that you want to go out with them again. If you don't, then don't text them. That that should go without saying, but I should actually probably say it. Because again, a lot of people are going to be looking for advice, and I'm probably not going to be the first one that they come across. Well, I'm not. No one's actually watching the stream right now, which is fine. It's probably gonna be up on the channel anyway. But I just feel like these kind of things have to be put out there. We have to be talking about these in good ways, and like I said, you will find good relationship advice, but more often than not, from where I've seen it, it's when it's debunking bad relationship advice, and well, that's not great. So somebody's got to start actually giving good relationship advice, and like I said, I'm certainly not the best person to do it, but I'm gonna fucking do it because somebody's got to, and that's kind of where I'm at now. So again, I will I'll talk more about things. There are different things that I'm going over in my head exactly how to express them or whatever that I might not express today, but I'm going to talk more about general formulas and approaches and things like that. I'll say a couple of things here. I think that it's very important to just kind of go with the flow, so to speak, right? Just kind of like let things happen as they will. You can't be in control of everything, and you can't make everything go your way. You can't always get what you want, and those kind of things. So when looking for advice, when looking for when seeking a courtship, you just gotta be aware of that. Try to just I mean, things are gonna happen or they won't, and you just gotta try to make these things do the best that you can in that kind of sense, but don't try too hard. be yourself, because I mean, you can't, like, keeping secrets, trying to hide things, right? I mean, not being yourself is just like, trying to hide who you really are or whatever. And you can't keep that ruse up. It's going to get tiring for you. And, at some point the mask is going to slip, so to speak. And, if they don't know who you are right from the get go, then, everyone involved just wasted a bunch of time potentially. So, you should be yourself. Don't lie. Don't make things up. Because someone's either gonna like you or they won't. And there are people out there that will like you. Um, and things like that. So a lot of times I feel like people will try to encourage you to put on some kind of mask, act like something you're not. But of course, the issue with that is that, like, you can't keep that up, because that's not you. And at some point the real you's going to come off. You might impress somebody by acting like somebody that you're not, and you might get somewhere with that person. But if they're not interested in the real you and only interested in this fake you that you're pretending to be, then when that mask slips, so to speak, and the real you comes off, well, you just wasted your time and theirs, and you know nobody's actually better off for it. um I mean, if there's one thing that I've learned from watching Pretty Little Liars, the core message of that show: secrets don't hide, they wait to be exposed. So don't keep them. Don't hide who you are. Be honest, open, upfront, these kind of things. Now, of course, that doesn't mean that you need to say everything right away. Don't lie when you're asked a question. Tell them the truth. Um, Things like that. Just don't pretend to be somebody you're not. You don't need to, like, tell them every little gritty personal detail about yourself right off the bat. Of course, no one, like, introduces themselves. Like, I don't go up to people like, hey, I'm Con. I don't think drinking while driving should be a crime in and of itself. And every time I take a shit, I wipe my ass until there's no discoloration on the toilet paper. None at all. Like, why would I say that? That would just be weird and creepy. And, like, so I'm not going to say that. But at the same time, I'm not going to pretend to be somebody that I'm not, right? Um, I'm not going to, like, wear something uncomfortable, or something like that, and just, like, try to fake being somebody else. I'm not gonna like tell people that I love skateboarding or whatever when I can't skateboard or shit. Because, like, how am I gonna keep that ruse up, right? I find a chick that's, like, into skater dudes, and I'm like, oh yeah, I skate, I love to skate, right? Wait, what am I gonna do? Like, go to the skate park, like, yeah, but I can't right now, actually, because like, I mean, at some point it's gonna come out, like, I'm not a skater. So, like, I'm not gonna be able to keep that up. So I'm not gonna pretend to be a skater, um, when I'm so clearly not. I'll be open about my interests, about the things that I like, um, and things like that. Um, which is good. You should do that. Don't try to pretend to be somebody that you're not. I should also probably address this idea of, like, nice guys finish last. Which is, again, kind of fucking bullshit. Anyone that believes this would have to pretend that more girls would probably rather hook up with the Joker than freaking Batman, which, I mean, I feel like we can all understand that that just can't possibly be true, right? I mean, do you really think that the Joker would do better with chicks than Batman? Like, you know, but if that nice guys finish last is true, then I feel like you would have to grant that. If you're going to stand by the nice guys finish last, then you're going to have to grant that the Joker would do much better with chicks than Batman. And I call bullshit on that. I could be wrong. I don't know. But doesn't seem very likely. Again, where this idea comes from is, I think that, a lot of times people are prone to confusing kindness with weakness. And weakness is not a generally attractive trait, but kindness isn't weakness, although some people may confuse it for that. It's not, and that should be understood. That, of course, kindness isn't weakness, and so you should be nice. You should try to be nice, polite, respectful, um, and not mean. Don't insult the person. Um, but again, that doesn't mean you need to be weak. Doesn't mean you need to be a pushover or can't be assertive. Anything like that. There's ways to figure out how to do these things, and I'll talk more about that. Because again, this is important, and like right now, all I'm trying to do is talk about like why I think there's a need for this, give some general ideas, and this is really sort of an off the cuff kind of thing or whatever. I just haven't streamed in a while, and I wanted to get something up to like let people know what I'm thinking and stuff like that. And I probably won't be doing a lot of responses. I might do some responses or whatever. Related to this, and maybe some other ones, but I just like um again, these things need to be talked about. And like, you will find good relationship advice out there. Some things I could recommend. Destiny usually gives pretty solid relationship advice when he's giving relationship advice. Um, though again, Destiny's usually giving relationship advice in the context of debunking the red pill manosphere kind of bullshit. Um, what's another one? Dark Matter 2525, I think, did an hour long video, which was pretty good. Responding to all the bullshit in the red pill community, so to speak, and it's a good video. You guys should all watch it. But again, you know, this advice, he's really only giving it in context of debunking the bad advice. He's not just giving the good advice, and things like that. Now, one channel that I think does a good job. It's not perfect, but does a pretty decent job in this regard. Is Charisma on Command, and but their advice is not usually specifically for courtships. They talk a little bit about flirting and stuff like that, but more it's about like charisma and things like that. How to do better in more broader social interactions, and which is fine. And I think they do a decent job, but again, I just feel like there's really a need for some like specific focus on the courtship, because the people that are doing this are not doing a good job, and the people that are doing a good job are only doing a good job when they're responding to the people that are not doing a good job, like the aforementioned Destiny and Dark Matter 2525. So there's more of a need for this and everything. And so I'm going to start doing that. Hopefully in not just response forms. I mean, maybe I'll do some responses. I don't know, but um, I'm gonna start talking about like the things that I see, the way that I see them, and different things. This isn't gonna be what this is. This is just kind of where I think the need is, and why I'm gonna start doing that more, and stuff like that. Really kind of an off the cuff thing. I'm still trying to get all my thoughts together and stuff, so I can try to put these out in a good way, and actually talk about give more salient advice and stuff. A lot of here today is just kind of examples, and kind of me just explaining my position, where I come from, and why I'm going to start doing that. You know uh so like it's not gonna be very long. I'm probably gonna head off here pretty soon. So it's only been like half an hour, I guess, but um I don't know what more I can say here right now. I'm still trying to get all my thoughts figured out, and different ways I can express these things or whatever in good ways, and things like that. I also want to run ideas by some other people because, like I said, I'm not the best person to do this. I just feel like somebody's got to, and I mean, I have picked up on some things. I've learned some things. I mean, being a socially awkward, helpless romantic, I've kind of had no choice but to give these things a lot of conscious thought. And like, when you're not socially awkward or helpless romantic, it's it's a lot easier. Because you don't have to think about these things. But I've been forced to think about these things my entire freaking life, and so I have because I've had no choice. My only chance for functioning in society is to actually give a lot of in-depth conscious thought into social interactions and how those things work. And I have, and I'm going to try to express that here on the kind of things that I think are important. Um, and lay out some. Again, it should be said that everything I say is going to be generalized. There's no like set in stone rule, right? You can't like to a certain extent you just kind of got to go with the flow. You just kind of got to like things are going to go as they go. Um, and I guess I can kind of lean into something else I wanted to bring up is the friend zone. Something that's talked about sometimes now. The best way out of the friend zone is to dive right in. And the thing about diving right into the friend zone is that, well, you're there. And, though it's true that friends can grow apart, they can also go together, so to speak. So, you know, um, the best way out of the friend zone is to dive right in. And so do that. And it's not a guarantee, but it is a win. It's pretty much going to be a win. Dive right into the friend zone. And here's the thing, even if you never get out of it, it's still a win because you have a friend. And that's not nothing. That's something. That's by definition not nothing. Like having a friend, making a new friend, I would count that as a win. And you should too. So, you know, if you're interested in a girl who, isn't really interested in you, you think you're being friend zoned, embrace it. Dive right into that. Be her friend. She will be yours. And even if a courtship never grows from that, you still have a friend. And you should count that as a win. Because having a friend is not a bad thing. It's not a loss. You didn't lose if you made a friend. You won. So dive right into the friend zone. It's the best chance you have of getting out of it. And even if you don't, you still win. You might not get exactly what you want, but that's fine. Sometimes you can't always get exactly what you want. Things aren't going to always go your way, right? But either way, you're gonna turn out to win in this one because you're gonna end up with a friend, and that's good. That's a win, and you should count that as a win, not a loss. And I think people are like, people are thinking in this like, well, if I'm interested in this girl, right, and I get friend zoned, right, well then I'm just, gonna be a friend, as I can't like, I don't get exactly what I want, so I lost. But like, I don't see it that way because I don't see how making a new friend can be a loss. Seems like it's a win. Win for her because she is a friend. Win for you because you have a friend. And friendships are great. They're not courtships. And courtships are also great. But, so are friendships. And they're both important. And, friendships can grow into courtships. They absolutely can. And so the best chance you have of getting out of the friend zone is to dive right in. And even if it doesn't work out that way, even if you never get out of it, you still have a friend. So you still come out a winner on the other side, I would say. So just embrace that. Think about that. That's, I think that's good. So again, I'm probably gonna head off here now. it's only been like a half an hour or whatever. I'm gonna stream more about this or whatever. I'm gonna talk more about this, obviously. You know, um, more coherent manner or whatever. It might have not been the most coherent here. This is kind of a more off the cuff kind of thing or whatever. Just something I've been thinking about and I wanted to get out there. And I'm going to continue to think more about this and the kind of things I would say for next time. You know, I've been thinking about kind of a formula, so to speak, for dates, first dates, second dates, third dates, fourth dates, things like that. So, I'll probably talk a bit more about that. In future videos, but I want to try to get all my thoughts together for that and maybe run them by some other people to see if I'm, make sure that I'm not totally off base. But yeah, I just, I wanted to get this out there. I wanted to, just, I guess, let people know, like, I am going to be doing this, talking more about this or whatever. I mean, I'm not, I'm gonna do. I'll just keep doing, a bunch of shit with my channel or whatever. But I'm gonna certainly start doing a lot more of this. I think because, well, like I said, it's important. Somebody's got to do it, and yeah. So again, gonna head off here. But I mean, anyone you watch this up on the channel, whatever, you have any questions, anything you want me to address in the future, or whatever, you can email me again. That's conlin1213@gmail.com. So that's C is in Charlie, O is in Oscar, N is in November, L is in Lima, I is in India, N is in November, 1213@gmail.com. So yeah, that's gonna be it for now, I think. But I know this wasn't like super informative, just a couple of things, and like I said, I just wanted to put this out there, and some general ideas, and like say that I'm thinking about these things and I'm going to be thinking about them more and talking about them more here or whatever, and in not like a response format or whatever. Maybe I'll do some responses, I don't fucking know, but I'm not gonna that's not gonna be my main thing here when I talk about relationships. And specifically, I should also say specifically, this is gonna be for courtships, romantic relationships. So I'm probably gonna use the term courtship a lot just to clarify that I'm mainly talking about romantic relationships, courtships, and also it's gonna be primarily for men because well, I'm a dude, and so that's going to be the perspective that I have. And yeah, I mean, a lot of the bad advice out there is already focused specifically for men. Part of me feels like it's maybe a bit more difficult for men in the courtship realm. Usually men are the at least expected initiators, right? So, men are the ones that are expected to kind of make the first move and stuff. And so oftentimes men do. And, they have to kind of know how to do that. And things like that. Yeah, I guess the last thing I'll say here is I will maintain to this day the best pickup line is, "Hey, what up?" So try that one. See where the conversation goes from there. If you get friend zoned, dive right in. Worst case scenario, you come out with a friend, and that's really not a bad thing. So count it as a win either way. Anyway, I'm gonna end it there. Peace out.